why does any of this exist? It's probably the oldest question there is. Today, we're digging into a source that gives a very, very specific answer. It's a whole cosmic plan that revolves around an heir, a massive inheritance, and one single act of redemption that's supposed to give the entire universe its meaning. So let's unpack how this whole thing is supposed to work. And it all kicks off with this pretty startling claim. The idea here is that the universe, all by itself, doesn't really have much value to its creator. I know, that sounds totally backwards, right? How could all of existence be, well, meaningless? But you have to get this one idea to unlock the rest of the logic we're about to explore. It's the central puzzle we have to solve. So to understand the plan, we first have to get our heads around the primary relationship that, in this view, came before anything else, the one between the father and the son, who is the heir. What's really striking here is just how absolute this focus is. The source basically says that before anything else was, this mutual devotion, this perfect, unbroken connection, was the only thing. For the father, everything is about the son. For the son, everything is about the father. This isn't just a relationship, it's the foundation for everything that's about to happen. And that leads to a really crucial point. If the father's entire focus is on his son, then creation wasn't some separate side project. It was a gift. The whole universe, all of space-time, was made for one reason: to be given to the son as his inheritance. It was literally made for him. But this actually creates a fundamental problem. If creation is just a gift, just an object being passed from one person to another, what is it actually worth? What's its intrinsic value? The source uses a really simple but powerful analogy to explain this. Think about a toy. To a parent, the toy itself, the plastic, the paint, it's replaceable. It only gets real sentimental value because of the child who loves it and plays with it. In this view, creation is the toy. On its own, it's expendable. It needs something more to give it a lasting, ultimate worth. Which brings us right to the heart of the whole plan. If the inheritance starts out as basically meaningless, what could possibly happen to give it such a profound value that it becomes truly worthy of the heir? The answer, according to this text, is found in one single, incredibly costly transaction, an act that fundamentally changes the nature and the value of the inheritance forever. Okay, so the source lays out this four-step logic. First, space-time gets created, but it has no real meaning. Second, the son enters that creation and makes the ultimate sacrifice. This act is the third step. It's the proof of God's perfect love and his perfect justice. And finally, because that incredible act happened within space-time, the creation itself is forever changed. It's now soaked in the ultimate value of that sacrifice. Now, to really get this sacrifice, we have to define a key term from the source: the soul. In this context, it's not a ghost or some kind of spirit. It's the core of who you are. It's your free will, the part of you that makes choices. It's the soul that can choose to sin, and so it's the soul that needs redemption. And that distinction is really important. And the source is super clear on this point. The power of redemption isn't in the physical substance of blood. The real significance comes from what the act demonstrates. It's a perfect expression of God's love for his creation and his absolute justice against sin, all happening at the exact same time. The sacrifice is a proof. Which, leads to the next logical question. If this was all about proving a point, why do it this way? Why was such a massive, costly demonstration necessary? Well, the answer shifts our focus away from God and onto the nature of the beings he created. You see, the ultimate purpose of this dramatic proof wasn't for God's sake. It was for the sake of the creatures living in the inheritance, the ones with free will. It was all for their benefit and for the perfection of their freedom. So here's the chain of events the source lays out. God gives creatures free will, but for them to make a real choice about him, they need to actually understand what he's like. The sacrifice on the cross provides that deep understanding of his love and justice, and that understanding is meant to create genuine love, which then leads to willing, voluntary obedience, not because you're scared, but because you're devoted. And that state is what the source calls the completion of free will. So the whole point of this massive cosmic plan is to produce a very specific result: a universe filled with free beings who have seen the ultimate proof of love and justice, and because of that, they choose to align themselves with their creator. It's about winning hearts, not forcing hands. So what does that perfected creation end up looking like? This brings us to the final act of the plan. According to the source, free will leads to one of two outcomes. It's a binary choice. Those who choose to submit to the Son become a permanent part of this now priceless inheritance and get eternal life. Those who reject him are, and this is the term used in the source, considered meaningless, like trash, and are ultimately removed from creation. The end result, then, is a totally restored and perfected universe. A creation that's been redeemed, cleansed of sin and death, and brought into complete harmony under the loving rule of the Heir, who now fully possesses his priceless inheritance. And this quote, which is cited in the source material, really just wraps it all up perfectly. The universe began from God, was given its meaning through the Son, and in the end, it all returns to God, unified and complete, just like the plan intended. And so we're left with this question to think about. This whole cosmic story weaves together three huge concepts: love, freedom, and meaning. It suggests that real meaning isn't just there, it's created through an ultimate act of love. And that real freedom isn't just about having choices, but about being able to see that love and willingly choose to be part of it. It's a complex and pretty deep idea to reflect on.